Hi, and a very warm welcome. Hope you're doing well. I'm K. Rashi Kumar, and today I'm concluding with my 7-part series of storytelling with the last story entitled The October Murmurs. Well, this storytelling series I started as a mark of celebration of World Book Day, which falls on April 23 every year. Well, as I promised you that this would be a beautiful story, the last story of this series, the 7th story, it's special to me for 2 reasons, like why I have chosen it to be narrated. For 2 reasons. One, I love this story. It's close to my heart. It's so full of hope. And secondly, a paragraph of it forms the blurb of the back page of my collection of 21 thought-provoking stories, Pandora. So I would love to read this blurb first. These winter bloomers are the mainstay of my garden. October is my adored month just because of the gorgeous array of gem-toned hues. He took a deep breath and rose from his chair, walking to the window towards his favorite flower pot, with lilac blue blossoms that somehow always connected him to the blooming red and pink scented freesia blooms of October in his own home garden in India, the October Murmurs. Well, let's begin the story. The October Murmurs. It was for more than 20 years now that 𝘱 was settled in Charleston City of the state of South Carolina in the United States. He had recently joined expert IT solutions company Charleston as a senior consultant on promotion. It was the first Friday of the bright month of October, full of sunshine, and 𝘱 was happily sitting at his workstation, all set to close down his work for the weekend. All of a sudden, his eyes caught sight of a picture with his parents while scrolling down through his iPhone's camera roll album, and 𝘱's vision got blurred with tears of remembrance. He was 28 when he had reluctantly taken the decision to leave India and permanently settle abroad. His wife Swastika had coerced him into winding up from India. She was excessively ambitious, and the only success she believed in was in procuring the US citizenship, and 𝘱 had been the only hope to fulfill her one-sided intent. 𝘱, I can't breathe in this ambience anymore. Find a job for yourself in US. All our friends are settled abroad. It's shameful we are still here. I can't think of my daughter's future in this country. Swastika had shouted in full frenzy that midnight after a fight between the two. 𝘱 was fed up of his wife's never-stopping and annoying sarcastic complaints for many years, and one fine day his decisiveness strengthened his resolve to immigrate. The responsibility of 2 young daughters as a result of an early marriage and 𝘱's own partial materialistic approach towards life, clubbed with Swastika's unabated naggings, had facilitated his decision. 𝘱 had already worked on 2 international projects, staying in Sydney, Australia for 2 years after his marriage with Swastika, but he had never desired to leave his country forever. 𝘱 got up in the swirl of nostalgia as he zoomed on the picture he was completely lost looking at. He remembered how his father on a wheelchair had strained to come up to the airport along with his aging mother to bid goodbye to their son and his family. The 2 little girls had kissed their grandparents' cheeks while wiping away the tears with their tiny palms, saying simultaneously, "We'll miss you, Daddy Dadu." Ah, why memories are many a time so painful, thought 𝘱. Just a year later, after his flying to US, his mother had died of heart failure, and he couldn't even attend her last rites because of Swastika's pressure. Her words echoed in 𝑗𝑗's ears clearly even after 19 years. "It's okay, 𝑗𝑗. There's no point in flying to India. We need to be practical. I've spoken to relatives. They have ensured that the last rites of your mother get performed nicely. You needn't worry, darling." Even 𝑗𝑗's maternal uncle had called him up to convey that his mother's last wish was to see her son, but he had chosen to give in to Swastika's reasoning, though his own heart had told him that it was flawed. 𝑗𝑗 wiped his moist eyes and realized he could do nothing for his father too, except for the credit transactions in his bank account every month that he made religiously. His father was 85 now, still on a wheelchair because of a stroke and resulting partial paralysis that he had suffered more than 2 decades back. However, his old wheelchair was now replaced by an expensive, smart one. The loss of a spouse had pushed his father in severe depression, and the only companion of his loneliness was a full-time attendant in a care home for senior citizens in Delhi. 𝑗𝑗's thought was suddenly interrupted by Swastika's phone call. "Hey honey, we are flying to India this November." Swastika sounded so enthusiastic. "Why?" 𝑗𝑗 asked surprisingly. "Just got the good news. My uncle's youngest daughter is getting married. The wedding date has been finalized. Purnima is just so dear to me. I'd promised her that we'll surely be attending her wedding. And honey, we'll see your dad too. A great idea, isn't it?" Swastika said it all in one go. "I'm coming home in a while. We'll talk then." 𝑗𝑗 winded up the call. He took a deep breath and rose from his chair, walking to the window towards his favorite flower pot with lilac blue blossoms that somehow always connected him to the blooming red and pink-scented freesia blooms of October in his own home garden in India. The sweet-smelling freesias were the most loved flowers of 𝑗𝑗's father. He used to say with pride, "These winter bloomers are the mainstay of my garden. October is my adored month just because of their gorgeous array of gem-toned hues." 𝑗𝑗's memories were triggered, and he distinctly remembered his father painstakingly tending to the flower plants, devoting all his spare time to them. And as they bloomed in October, it was no less than a festive occasion in the house, with his father beaming with pride and the family taking pictures using the flowers as a perfect backdrop. He remembered clearly his father rushing to photo studio for getting the prints developed and adding the photos to the family album each year. Jolted to present, the melancholy of 𝑗𝑗's heart was bright because he finally hoped to see his country and dad after a gap of many years. The nostalgic floral glory was swaying in melody as if resonating with the October Murmurs. Hope the October Murmurs leave you touched and with lots of hope. I do hope that you like this story. While at the same time, I would love to take this opportunity to thank each one of you from the bottom of my heart, for participating in this celebration of my 7-part storytelling series that I started as a mark of celebration of World Book Day. Thank you so much for your valuable feedback, your comments, your views, your critical appreciation that you shared with me personally as well as on social media. Thank you so much for showing your love to Pandora, a collection of 21 thought-provoking stories. And a bookmark here, it says, "Life is a garden, good friends are the flowers, and times are spent together life's happiest hours, and friendship, like flowers, blooms ever more fair when carefully tended by dear friends who care." So, lots of love, lots of good luck to you, to your loved ones. Happy reading, and keep sharing the joy of reading. Bye-bye. Thank you, and God bless.